Attention gamers. When you play ADC in League of Legends, there are going to be many shots of skill fired in your direction, and if you aren't rocking more dodge than a Durango, you'll wind up feeding some busted blonde walking laser show a fat amount of gold. Everyone on the Rift knows you are squisher than a saggy tit, so you'll always be everyone's favorite mall cop to visit, and even if you are flashier than a rich bitch's Met Gala outfit, it'd be nice to have some breathing room. But building defensive stat items on ADCs isn't really viable, as the only thing building something like a Warmogs will help you kill is your own will to live, so you are typically pigeonholed into being a glass cannon. Then I discovered the new and improved Thirster of Blood, which gives more lifesteal than a motivated Vladimir and pops a shield on top that provides more effective health than most defensive items anyways, which when paired with Barrier, gives you just enough beef to survive situations that your previous self could only wet dream of. Not to mention situations where you used to be too low to slurp up XP and creep gold, you can now hang around for longer and not have to miss out on the fun, while this gives you just that tiny extra boost to survive things like Summoner's Rift Shark Week, which in the past have resulted in one-shot health bars and potentially broken monitors. So today I'm taking a Bloodthirster Rush build into ranked games to show just how busty nuts broken this 200 IQ build is for the modern day ADC. The first step was deciding which ADCs to try this on, and seeing as one of my go-to Betty Boops just got a fat buff according to my pocket Professor, I would be trying her, and further using the app to tell me all the top builds as well as what actual pro players are building in their games, and then clicking one button to set it all up for me so that I don't have to interrupt my TikTok doom strolling. Once in game, I could view the full scouting report and blatantly ignore things like their Master Yi is a boss, so when he inevitably full clears fast visits my lane and proceeds to turn my ass in two, I can feel better knowing that he used his flash on me. The in-game stats reveals that I'm not doing too hot, so naturally my whole team hates each other as we lose, and typically I would use Riot's end-game graphs to determine that a defective Irelia on my team was the problem, but with Professor I can see a bunch of end-game stats around areas that I can improve myself, so use my link in the description and you can get all these features for free today. And let's get into the real games. This starts off with us getting pushed in worse than a button on a broken vending machine, but little do they know we hired a jester to come around 2:30 only to learn that this vegan is afraid of clowns and would rather die than interact with one. I was admittedly getting poked by that grapevine, but with a Lulu support and Barrier off cooldown I had more shields than a disc priest, so we walked up and removed the weed in those shrubs. We took a small break to deploy cameras in the local stream when the walking rose bush decided to tie me up. This pissed me off, so I decided to fire an ult at the wall where no enemy would ever feasibly path before waiting for Glitter Tits to do something suspiciously remarkable like flash ult double knock up some hose, which scares the Magnolia MILF away so that we could focus our efforts on Miss Bedazzled Frisbee, who doesn't want to take her flash to fountain as we then chase, and I figure a little rain on any plant is recommended. At one point we did get a visit from a Diana who sometimes identifies as a small chibi penguin, who did forcefully extract my flash, but the only victim here was the tomato vine who stuck around to watch. This did leave us in a predicament where the local dog kennel experienced a bit of a jailbreak, and now we were left to deal with that prison riot ourselves. We had a lead, but my team was clowning around, no pun intended, and the only thing I could do to salvage them overextending in the enemy forest was to fire a few 100,000 bullets in their direction to even out the trade. I knew the traveling circus act was en route, so I tried to bait a fight, hoping the enemy plays with both their notifications and mini-map toggled off, and it just so looks like that was the case as I did one hop on the thorny trampoline and then finished off the weed. All 10 players decided to go whitewater rafting in river before remembering that they hate each other and half of them wanted the other half dead, so I fire up the cone of combustion for a few seconds before doing one hop this time, which is enough to put that fleeing dandelion on my dead bitch radar, so I chase to put her in base before heading mid. Psych, some dog is like, I'll show you my shield if you show me yours, and I'm like, as long as I can fuck you after, to which he obliges, and then I use that post-nut clarity to know that running north is my ticket to survival. Dragon Pit is apparently where all the cool kids hang out in this one, as I did hear all the good drugs were there. At one point we saw a man tripping so hard on bath salts that he lit himself on fire and just ran at us before snapping back to reality like Joe Biden during a presidential debate, but my movement speed trumped his and we took him down. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know what objectives we were going after. I was just trying to surprise some shitters and play team deathmatch as a combination of Bloodthirster Lulu ults and me prematurely busting my flash like it touched my bare leg, and nothing was going to take me down, even if it was angry ginger height deprived and trying to get lucky with my foxy best friend. My build now had a good combination of health theft, damage to the squishies, and tank shreds, but I also was building quite a collection of Dark Harveys on my shelves, so even a gentle shower was enough to steal me kills as a warm-up to the main event, where I showed that Shivers are not very flame retardant. At this point we were fed enough to limit tests, so I took one look at Lulu and said, my barrier will keep me shielded, my red sword will keep me healthy, you keep this bitch a penguin while she keeps herself golden, and after we kill her we will just pucker our ass cheeks and see what happens as we get surprisingly close to pulling off a 2v5. And so in a 30-minute game I think I've discovered the build of builds for the modern day ADC that provides all the amenities and sources of damage that a young pirate cosplaying goddess could need, as I racked up over 20 kills, a fat W for the boys, and was ready to test it on another champ. The second game I decided to try the Bloodthirster rush on he who counts to 4 against a bot lane comp that has a ton of self-peel defenses, shields, burst CC, and an Ezreal, as we wanted to keep the shield slut poked and out of the game, but after removing her Ezreal's ability to move she sprawled into action. This launched the sequence where I greeted like a crypto investor and a 1-for-1 trade went down. The winner's bracket would feature 2 kids who are both a bard's fart from meeting their maker, and I knew that if I let Leo throw her little sticky sword on me my ass would be grass, so I took a scenic route and tossed her some purple drank and won the 2-round tourney. A minute later, while our jungler was busy flaming the fuck out of our team in chat, we had Ezreal taking a piss break and Leona looking like a snack for anyone who could aim a Jhin ult, which could only mean one thing. But it's okay, because Michael Scott once said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and so when this Ezreal started pushing up glowing like an arthritis commercial just giving away that they were receiving a lane gank, we decided death all the way from downtown Disney World would be getting delivered to him via shots we did take. Eventually their melee champ support came to the life-altering conclusion that they won't win a poke battle, so she opted into being the bullshit champ that we all know and hate, while Twinkleshit over here focused the wrong target. A few seconds later I stopped focusing the wrong target too, but while I was reloading my revolver I saw him order a giant-ass banana, which I knew would be the end of Static Stanley. But not to fear, my next ult was here and it would avenge both my support and my last attempt at not being shit at this game. At one point we left home and ran towards mid when our wave was crashing into our tower, because I'm hard stuck gold and like to remind people of that, I guess, and while I originally thought their Ezreal was in a worse spot than a hot dog in Joey Chestnut's kitchen, it ended up being a close fight. The large lady kept me from playing the game long enough for Fizzle Tits over here to kill my support again, and then I got in a slap battle with Thor's mother for a few seconds before Calvary arrived. I booted up the zoomed out death simulator and proceeded to shoot a solid 75% from the field. This left me as fed as Joey Chestnut in a kitchen that used to be full of hot dogs, and nothing was going to stop. We then decided to group up mid because my team and I couldn't come to an agreement on how many licks it takes to get to the center of a dead Ezreal, and the answer was somewhere in the ballpark of barely any as he melted, and then we chased down Stone Tits McGee until she handed over some cash as well. They had a demonic sardine, which is typically bad news bears for an ADC, but this is piss pit elo, so the game was slowly transitioning into a ram and my triangular shooting range could cover the entire playing field, which also meant that I would not be the one to kill off that slimy douchebag, as my team did all the work on my behalf. But a minute later in this ARAM we caught Logan Paul trying to get us to invest in some bullshit Ethereum petting zoo, which presented the perfect opportunity for me to zoom way out and inform Leona that she makes a better window than a door before participating in her death as well. In hindsight, following the lead of some big foot-sized honeybee who wanted backup singers to complement his bitch bowling was probably not the best idea, as it did get us in some sticky situations where their fizz was like, Xerath, let me teach you a move called the Zanyas, as he went golden, only for 2 seconds later Xerath to be like, hey, this is cool, thanks for showing me, as I was all like 3. Eventually my support thought and did die to that death fetish goat as she deployed the immortal dance floor, and seeing as I love symphonies I stuck around for the curtain to close on this kindred's life, which left only one little Logan left in the playpen with a monster whose ult just came off cooldown. And I have to say, walking around with like a 400 health overheal shield from Bloodthirster definitely comes in handy during Shark Week when a little devilish anchovy wants to remove me from the game, but now I have enough beef to survive and tell the fishing story to my grandkids one day. We decided it would be a good time to jerk off the flailing river wiener, but little did I know Kindred was about to make the play of his life by ulting the ground so that he could be in full control of diffing my jungler in the smite off before dying a hero for his team. Leona was pretty tanky, but this build, despite giving me that nice life steal, does still pack a punch, so she pissed off as well. This left just the twinkle shit alone to try and defend the push, but no amount of little blinky bullshit is going to stop my thin beams as we continue to push in, and in my first 3-2 ranked games trying the Bloodthirster rush tech, I was able to survive enough to get me fed and end with over 20 kills. So if me, a shit hard stuck silver player, can do this in his main elo and pop off like this, I'm sure all of you much better and more handsome people out in the stands can do it even better. Subscribe so I can brag about my sub count to my nephews. Rav out.